You don't recall me streaming at this time ever? I mean, it's, what time is it? 6 a.m. here? I've definitely done morning streams before, but I don't remember what time I did them at. I don't remember if I did them earlier or later. Well, I thought I was having a hard time staying asleep, and I was like, um, I might as well stream now because so Deltarune just dropped chapters 3 and 4 yesterday. Yeah, hold on a second. Ugh. Adjust my headband. And even though I am not playing Deltarune on stream or off stream, I am enjoying watching other people play it. And so I was like, you know what? Why not? I did sleep though. I did sleep a bit during the night, and I also did take a nap yesterday. But I just wasn't feeling super sleepy. I think part of it too is I need to wash my bed sheets. I always sleep better after I've washed them. So I was like, you know what? Let me do my morning stream now, so that way later in the day I can watch other people play more Deltarune. It's kind of weird too because like Deltarune, sorry, this is a bit of a tangent here, but Deltarune is one of those games where, and I've said this before, I've never actually played Undertale. It's weirdly one of those games that I feel very strongly about and that I remember very well despite not playing it myself, just because I think I just watched certain other people play it in a way that satisfied me. Maybe someday I'll play it, but honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of like, it's like, it's kind of bullet hell, kind of Danmaku-ish, and I'm not really like, that's pretty not in my wheelhouse. So I could probably learn to do it, ? But I don't know if I actually enjoy playing that kind of mechanic as much. And funny enough, but I've always been like, so Deltarune is going to be maybe 7 parts. And, I don't really know where to judge it because one, it's releasing episodically, kind of like this game. But, when a game releases episodically, it's like, is it okay to judge each individual chapter as its own thing? Or should you judge it all as a whole? And like for this type of game, for example, of the Devil, I feel like it's, you pretty much judge it by the whole of its parts. Deltarune definitely feels, I don't know. There's a lot of changes between each episode from what I have determined. Each episode kind of introduces slightly different game mechanics, for example. But the other big thing about that is like, it is obviously related to Undertale in some fashion, whether it's a prequel, sequel, alternate universe, something like that. So, I never know, like, okay, well, should I, like, I feel like for those types of games or movies or whatever, whether it's a prequel or sequel, like, to a certain extent, it should be able to stand up on its own, which I think Deltarune does, but, it's also like, okay, well, how do you judge it? But then you also judge it, like, compared to the whole of its franchise. You know what I mean? And so I think for that, I would really have to wait and see, like, in the years to come, how the whole story shakes out. I have been, like, surprisingly warming up to it. At first, I wasn't actually, like, as into it because I think one of the things that differentiates it from, say, Undertale is, like, Undertale is very, very simple it is much simpler in the storytelling and the characterization, where Deltarune, I don't know how to explain it. It definitely gets more complicated, and there's definitely more setup involved. So for example, when chapter 1 came out, I was kind of like, yeah, it's okay. But chapter 1 kind of feels like it's all prologue of introducing your characters and mechanics. And that one, but like Deltarune also has more of a traditional RPG setup. Like it's obvious, you know, it's very styled an RPG. But like as it's kind of gone, and like now that I've seen chapter 3 up to chapter 3, not chapter 4 yet, you know, you really start to see Toby Fox and his team start to flex a little bit more about like, you know, he clearly is very passionate about a lot of video games, a lot of older video games, a lot of Nintendo games, stuff like that. And just start to pay more homage to those styles of games, which is kind of refreshing, I think. You know, I feel like being able to do this with a bigger team and more time and money, you know, it's both the blessing and the curse of when you have bigger teams, more time, more money is. It also means that it's going to take a lot longer. And the more ambitious you get, it's also like, there's also more chances to kind of mess things up. Eh? Am I in the wrong category? Art category? Eh? Not me. Oh, okay. So, you know, I was still kind of mulling it over, some of my thoughts. I think I'm still kind of grateful that I'm not. I don't know. I think I was just like at a certain age when Undertale came out where I really, really enjoyed the story and the characters and the music and everything about it. But like if I had been maybe a bit younger, it might have been one of those like much more formative things for me. And I'm kind of glad that I was like, okay, well at least I was an adult. I'm still just kind of like, my brain is really mulling it over. And also I really wanted to play oh man, my brain is gone. What did I want to play? The Urban Myth Disillusion Center. But part of the other reason why I wasn't playing that right now is because I was like, oh, I want to draw a sprite in the style of that game, kind of. And I started it, but then I was like lazy. And I need to stop being lazy. I need to actually like commit to doing art and finishing art stuff. Because I have a lot of stuff that's just not quite done. So I need to commit to it. I think I'll probably do more of it off stream though. And hopefully I can do that, and then I'll continue that game too. So I thought, let's go back to Of the Devil for today. Hopefully it doesn't wreck my voice too much, because this game is very, very text heavy when it gets to dialogue and lore. So off we go, off we pop. Continue. Oy. Last time I was playing this, it was killing my voice. I was losing it. I listened back to a segment and I was like, oh man, I could tell I was struggling so bad just because I have a pretty monotone way of speaking, but even more so when I was struggling. Like you could tell I was like, it was getting really flat. I'm drinking out of my bottles today. I did not give myself a cup. So that's why you'll probably see my tracking freak out a bit. I have Ito En Kocha milk tea and some water. I didn't say it last time, but this guy here, what was his name again? He's kind of giving me some Oliver Evans vibe from Niji Sanji, Japanese liver VTuber Oliver Evans. The hair. Yeah. Dawes, that's right, that's this guy. Evan Dawes. Oh, also the thing that drove me freaking nuts was that I finally remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I kept forgetting that I had like an Amazon Prime membership for a bit, and I was using that to not have to view Twitch ads. And I finally was like, okay, let me disable that. And I did that like right before I was like watching a bunch of Twitch streams, and now I was like, I was so freaking annoyed because of all the Twitch ads I had to watch. Anyways, thanks for humoring me. Huh? Oh, I thought I still. Wait, hold on a second. I thought I. Hold on, let me go back. Did I load the wrong one? It's oh, the office. The office. There we go. Whew. We just entered the office. I remember that's where we stopped. Oh. Here I thought I could avoid wading into the swamp of corporate pretend power dynamics. I don't mind speaking first. I don't have time for this inverted staring contest. Enjoying the view? I always like this time of day. Not too muggy for you? No, I never liked a clear blue sky. It always seemed cold to me. You're in luck. The sky gets more colorful every year. As the air quality drops? Childish, isn't it? Marveling at the small sheen of rainbow dancing on the surface of a massive oil spill. Hold on, did I? Wait, okay. Apologies for waxing poetic. Oh, there we go. Music's really kicking in now. In fact, I could probably turn it down just a touch more. I think I turn it down just a little bit more every time. Been very unusual 24 hours around here. Dr. Young. Just Miss is fine. Miss Young. Get the feeling that you didn't bring me up here to talk about the weather. No, I brought you up here to express my condolences. Very sorry for your loss. Just mine? Thank you, although I could say the same. Yeah, it sounded like she was kinda business, maybe not business partners, co-workers, toe-to-toe with David Asher. I know you and David worked together for many years. Yes, we did. But as much as I'd like to just drop everything in process, company wheels don't stop spinning for anything. Or anyone. Was Dawes of any help? She sent him. Trying to be helpful or just trying to control the narrative? He was great. But that must mean you know why I'm here. I don't want to make assumptions. No need. I'll be explicit. I'm here as an officer of the court, which means I'm bound by law to document every rock I turn over and every person I speak to. Yes, the lawyers made that very clear. Lawyers. You have an android. It's not one of ours. You can tell that quickly? Got all the faces memorized? It's easy enough to remember the major archetypes we use, yes? You're nuts about your work, maybe. It's a recent acquisition. Very recent, in fact. One of David's last requests, apparently. David asked you to take it? Yeah, I have a feeling she's gonna be very interested in Sarah. I've been told that you've been to David's estate already. Yeah, police gave me full access to the scene. Then, you know that he wasn't alone last night. Yep, there was a single witness who met with him and called emergency services when he fainted. I was that witness. I kind of wondered. Really? Obviously. Yeah. There aren't very many people David would bother meeting with in person, let alone welcoming them into his home and offering them a drink. I forget why, but I did have a feeling that it was her, but I can't remember what they said to make me think that. I also knew that Young is his superior on paper, if not in fame. And I knew that the witness had Executive Plan 3 insurance, so they had to be higher up than David. Well, I guess those are true. True as well. Well then, do your lawyers know you're having this conversation? Of course. They're pulling their hair out about it as we speak. Can't imagine why the police cleared you. And you were well within your rights to ask for some privacy, given the high-profile nature of all that's happened. So, why call me up here? Why cut through all the red tape your lawyers painstakingly hid you behind? Eventually you, or some clever lawyer like you, would get the record opened. Through legal means or otherwise. The company's enemies are legion, and they have a prying knife for every occasion. Still, would have taken time. Time you could use to get ahead of what could be the biggest PR hurdle Noble's ever seen. Touché. And perhaps the truth of the matter is that I simply didn't want to hide. David was my colleague for several years. And if I were in your shoes, I would have questions as well. Oh yeah, so I think David and Morgan are about the same age, because they were at college together. I don't think we know how old either of them are. Birthdays, but not years. So I don't really know how long he was at the company. Because it sounded like he was poached pretty much fresh out of college or grad school. You're doing this for my sake? No. My reasons are purely selfish. I'm hoping that talking to someone whose job isn't to defend me from all consequences might prove therapeutic. She wants to play confessional, fine by me. But is that really all that's going on here? Why don't you start from the beginning then? You went to his home last night. Yes, at around 7:30 p.m. The building's penumbra captured all of that quite clearly. He fell ill around 8 p.m. So you spent half an hour together. Why the late call in person? We had an intense discussion yesterday afternoon. David never came in on Saturdays, and I didn't want to spend the weekend glaring at him through screens, so I visited, and he let me in, and we talked. About? The good old days, if you can believe that. Back when we were both new to the company, eager to make a name for ourselves. How long ago was that? 7, 8 years? Okay, not even a decade. So Morgan's probably like 30-ish? Probably no more, probably less than 35. Miss Young? Putting a number on it doesn't sound that long ago, but it feels... We spent a while like that, just talking. He was lively and sharp, and I never would have thought that a few minutes later, that he would be dead? That he would commit suicide in front of me. Firm reply. What happened? 8:15, he said he wanted to toast. He got up, walked back into his workshop, and then he must have went into his basement to get us a bottle. I checked some messages in the meantime, enjoyed the view. See it on camera. He came back with a bottle of whiskey in 2 plastic cups. We drank and talked. He got quieter, spoke less. I thought he was just getting drunk. I didn't get worried until he started to fall asleep. You tried to wake him? He wasn't responding. I tried to shake him awake, but he didn't seem... I left him and ran to the kitchen to use the security system. Didn't think to use your phone? No. I suppose I didn't. But it worked out. The Penumbra's emergency protocols summoned a VTOL straight to his helipad with 1 button press. When I returned to the parlor, he was limp. I moved him to the floor as delicately as I could. Oh, like he was collapsed on the table at that time? He had a heartbeat, but I guess that might explain his outline. Do I have his outline in my evidence? Water. Oh. I don't think I have it. No. Oh. I wish I did. I wish I could keep that with me. But alas. I do recall she said something about like his body on the floor, the outline of it, and their like arcs system or whatever it was looked very it wasn't slept over. It was like neatly splayed out. So I guess that's Young's doing, spreading it out gently. You went with them to the hospital, I take it? Yes, they insisted. They checked my vitals and ran a tox screen, which came back clean. So did David's, for all the good it did him. I wasn't paying close attention to what they were saying at that point, but I'm sure they ran through every step of the CCE SOP. That's what they're paid to do. You seem certain that it was suicide. Yes. Why? As I said, he got quieter as time passed and he spoke less. But the last thing he said to me, the last clear thing he said, was he said he was happy ending it here. Said he was content. And he downed his glass after that. That could mean his life, that could mean other things like maybe leaving the company, stopping research, something like that. He drank every last drop. Does that sound like David Asher to you? Curious, restless, perfectionist David? No, I guess it doesn't. Oh. CCE. You said CCE, Standard Operating Procedure, a moment ago. What is that? Yeah, I wondered. I was like, I don't know what CCE is. CCE stands for Counter Corporate Espionage, which is just industry doublespeak for corporate espionage. Only used in self-defense, you understand? So Noble anticipates employees at your level getting poisoned. Good morning. Why is everybody so surprised today? It's not that surprising, is it? They give us all kinds of CCE training. Subtly, of course. Usually disguised on the itinerary as leadership workshops or psychiatric evaluations. That's a good way to put it. You know what? I guess you're kind of right. Maybe it's the hair. The short hair. But then again, I think my schedule is always a little unexpected, you know? I have usually a ballpark that I give her. I don't think I can do a lot of crazy accents for this game. These guys are very wordy, even compared to Ace Attorney standards. Oh yeah, what was I was talking earlier about Deltarune. And I was looking at some stuff on like the Deltarune wiki as well. And there's a character from part 2, chapter 2, which I didn't notice before, but apparently has like a very subtle Franziska von Karma reference to it. If you want to see, it's a character called Task Manager, like the computer program, but it's spelled with a Q, like this. I think it's like a pretty unique, like one-time enemy. I really like the design of this character too, so a lot of don't look up some images of it, otherwise you're gonna get a, well, I mean, you know, don't look up like a bunch of fan art, otherwise you're in for a degenerate surprise. Because I guess like the color scheme is kind of similar, and also the whip, and this character also apparently says like order, order, kind of like the judge in Ace Attorney. I think that's as far as the similarities really go. It's a great design. I don't, you know, I understand why it's popular with the furries. With the furries and the degenerates. I can't say that word today. They train you to expect to get murdered at those leadership workshops? Murder is fairly rare at our level. More likely they'll want us too sick to work. Let us drain company resources in a hospital bed while our position sits vacant. Smart. Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas to strain the enemy's medical resources. Interesting. Well, that's terrible. Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas in order to strain the enemy's medical resources. She's saying what I'm thinking. That's nothing compared to when they want to turn an asset. Feel ill for the rest of your life with an undiagnosable malady. Or become our mole, and we'll send you the antidote every 2 weeks. Oof, nasty. It's a nasty line of work. Consulting. I'm sorry? That's just what they call it. Can't exactly put corporate spy on your CV. So every consultant I met at a cocktail party was actually... It depends. Did they say they're consultants? Or did they say they're in consulting? How the hell am I supposed to know? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, do your people think that what happened to David was a deliberate attack? Noble's competitors have been trying to get to David for years. Well, this is her changing her tune. She was talking about... She was very certain that it was suicide up until now. And that's the time scale their plans operate on. If this was an attack from a rival corporation, the company would have seen it coming. And they'd probably have struck first. You know, I feel like at this point I play so many like detective and lawyery games, you know? Nothing wrong with that. Cups. I've been curious about this ever since I saw the scene. Why the plastic cups? There's a story there. You know, it's funny, I don't know if I ever told this. I don't think I ever gave it too much serious thought, but you know, somebody did suggest to me that I go into like forensic research. And it definitely does seem interesting. Or at least it seems interesting on the surface. I don't know like what the day-to-day would be like. Yeah, and I remember I think somebody else I talked to long time ago was also considering that as a job, but I don't think they ever made any real moves to it. I was thinking, you know, actually a very uncommon manga that I like, not forensic research, but is about embalming in Japan. It's literally just called The Embalmer. It's very good manga, and it teaches you like a tiny bit about like embalming and just like embalming or like funerary rites in Japan. But it's also mostly just like a lot of little anthology stories about people dealing with death. Makes me think of that's what I used to think of a lot when I saw people what was the game that everybody was playing, Mortuary Assistant? I was like, oh, I recognize some of this equipment. I learned about it from manga. Also, I was at a my parents are the kind of people who like to go to like consignment stores. Do you know what a consignment store is? It's kind of like a used furniture, used antiques, stuff like that. Or sometimes they also go to things like lumber yards. Don't ask. And I remember one consignment store we were at, I think it did have like an antique like mortuary table. It was very interesting to look at. David and I got hired around the same time under similar circumstances. Headhunted while finishing our higher education. Oh yeah, kind of a little off topic too, but fingers crossed, I'm getting a little bit more, I'm having a little bit more talks with people who can give me money for work so I don't become homeless. But we'll see, you know, it's always like, it's a little bit about numbers, getting a lot of applications and also getting applications in early. But like, you know, sometimes it's still hard to say what they're really looking for. But yeah, it's a little bit more optimistic that finally more opportunities are being listed and I'm starting to get a little bit more callbacks. We'll see. Ugh, but I've been jobless for so long. I don't know how to be an employed person anymore. I need to work on that. Pretending to be a normal human again, with a normal human schedule. During recruiting, the company claimed to want us badly, but in practice, our actual authority was... I mean, my sleep schedule was never great even when I had a job. But the biggest problem now is I need to be more alert during the daytime at the very least. No napping on the job. Inexperienced and overpaid. It must have been extremely unpopular. You don't mince words. We didn't either, back then. We were loudly trying to convince our superiors that the entire sales model for androids was antiquated and self-defeating. Two of them made the one-point doctrine. That's... Oh, she was involved too, I forgot. Not the story I've heard in Noble commercials and Noble sponsored media. I had to think of it, not the story I heard from David himself. Oh, maybe she's trying to take credit for it now? We had this deadline, self-imposed, but still a deadline. We wanted to get our pitch to the president of the international sales by the end of the day. 7 p.m. rolls around and people start filtering out. David still has his head buried in diagrams and sales figures. Imagine a technical man like him, a programmer, trying to make a sales pitch. Clock hits 9 and even the zombies start heading home. I turn to David and tell him it's not gonna happen. We're nowhere near finished and the day's long since been over. He looked at me like I'm the only other person on a sinking boat and I've just stopped pitching water, and he says, "The president lives on the other side of the globe. We've still got all night until his end of the day." We wrapped up at 4 in the morning, just us and the cleaning staff. Back then, only half of them were ads. He finally sends the message and I'm ready to collapse. I've got nothing. We stared blankly at his inbox for the next 40 minutes, hoping that the harsh light would give us the energy to work through the next day. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm a little off topic because I had 3 days off, but lots of gaming news. I haven't been paying attention to all the games that have been announced. Isn't there like Final Fantasy Tactics news? I don't know what it is. If it's a... Surely it's just like a touched up port? Or is it a whole new game? Because that's one that I've talked about a long time ago when I was playing FF6. Was that a lot of people seem to really like Tactics, and I'm kind of curious to give it a try someday. I think that was the main one that I saw. What else? I saw like a little bit of Digimon Time Stranger news. Not anything like crazy. I wasn't really paying too close attention to the trailers. I was mostly just paying attention to it showed like the cool collector's edition kit, and it has like a Jupitermon statue figurine. That's very cool looking. Alright. We stared blankly at his inbox for the next 40 minutes, hoping that the harsh light would give us the energy to work through the next day. And we got a response. It wasn't long, but it showed he was interested. I'd been turned down so many times before then. Ignored and placated, passed up and ghosted and... But together, David and we'd finally gotten a win. So David asks if I've got anything to drink. I've got a bottle of some swill in a cabinet at my desk, but he doesn't want to drink from the bottle. Says he wants to toast. So we sat there at 5:19 in the morning, toasting awful vodka to one another in cups we grabbed from the break room. Toasting our first victory against the corporate beast. Between the lack of sleep and drinking, the next day at work was hell. Sounds like a good memory. Plastic cups and liquor. That was our little ritual. So I didn't think twice when he presented me with my cup. It was ceremony for us. What's new here? Updated about the cups. Young story. Toasting in the cups. History with Noble. As VP of Android Futures, you're David's superior, aren't you? That's correct. Didn't you join the company at around the same time? David was always more interested in his work than he was climbing the ladder. He didn't like playing corporate politics game. So, he was unpopular around here? Not unpopular, no. Not the great Dr. David Asher. Misunderstood, perhaps. I have so many chips to gamble with. Makes me kind of scared of like how intense the actual what is it? The preliminary court? Is that what it is? Oh, how intense that's going to be. How so? He could be blunt, demanding, some might say. He wasn't trying to be, it's just not everyone could work at the same pace as he did, for as long as he did. Even with the whole company huffing those inhalers, they couldn't keep pace with David? Speaking of which, I don't see any at Young's desk. Maybe it's just not something you leave out in the open at her level. So, you would say his work-life balance was... Balance implies the two are at odds with one another. We use work-life harmony here at the company. Alright, so how was he in harmony? No, David always had plenty of suitors, but he was never willing to put the time in. But I'm sure you're more knowledgeable about than I am on that subject. Right. Talking about dates? I had to help him draft a lot of apology notes over the years for misunderstandings or double bookings. Oh, I see. Scandalous. Wait, are they actually talking about dates or like meetings and corporate stuff? Animate 16. A16 only entered production this year, correct? Correct. Pre-orders started last holiday and we began shipping in the first quarter. I understood that you were instrumental in the success of Warm Androids. I played my part supervising the launch, yes. Weren't you the one who designed serotonin, the factor that enabled communication between synthetic and organic parts? I'm surprised you heard of that. I did lead that project, yes, but that was years ago. At the time, serotonin was little more than a novelty, a dead end. It wasn't until David took the reins on the A16 that we found a use for it. Took the reins? He was lead programmer on limb coordination, facial expression, exhaustion parameters. He designed the synthetic nerves that made all that possible. David did all that? A lot more than just programming. Was he always so gifted in that many fields? Did he fill those roles on A14 or A15? No. He used to stick steadfast to his role as a software architect. That was his field of expertise, and he didn't want to wander far. But 2 or 3 years back, he started sitting on other departments, taking notes. Soon, he was joining the discussion and proposing new ideas. Eventually, they came to follow his lead. Just like that? Just like that. So, he just applied himself, and soon he was leading other departments. That's the kind of genius that David Asher was. Maybe they weren't paying him enough. The company profited the most, of course, but the entire industry benefited from his vision and leadership. His loss will be felt for years. I've got this robot here. Oh. So, this android, Sarah? Even Dawes couldn't find any real details on where it came from. It's not in any of our systems? I'm afraid not. Did David ever talk to you or anyone else at the company about a pet project? Pet? No, he never gave any indication like that. And even if he didn't talk to me about it, I seriously doubt he confided in anyone else at the company. David didn't trust anyone higher on the chain than himself, and anyone below him? Frankly, they couldn't possibly hope to give him advice. He never mentioned me? No, never. Androids don't come cheap. You never heard about him requisitioning parts or resources? And there were never any discrepancies with his company credit card? Company's accountants are mirthless, even by industry standards. They wouldn't humor anybody. Not even David Asher. If they had ever detected financial discrepancies, there would have been an uproar loud enough you could hear it from the mailroom. If a mailroom? Not since the 30s. Just a figure of speech. He couldn't have taken resources from the company without leaving a record. But no one would deny David Asher information. He would have been able to obtain all the necessary data to build his own android. Then, with enough time and money, he could privately purchase the raw materials himself. I don't understand. It must have taken him years to build Sarah. He wasn't doing anything illegal. Except the hacking stuff. So why keep it a secret? I don't know. But he was private, and a perfectionist. Perhaps he simply wasn't proud of his results, Sarah. Look at her face. Could be. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I'm sure this has been a difficult day for you. A difficult day for all of us. Message from Fran. Running out of leads to chase. The brat better have good news. I feel like this is not going to be the end of Young's testimony. I feel like there's got to be more to it. Are you really going to take this to court? That's my plan. The circumstances may be irregular, but I'm still defending a client from a criminal charge. It's my responsibility to argue that he's not guilty of what he's been accused of. And is that what you believe? That he didn't commit suicide? Guess I haven't decided what I believe. I wonder if she's going to be the type of lawyer, like if these, if we're going to be actually getting guilty party off the hook. Wait, what? Video game? Are you thinking? Hello? Oh, there we go. Oh, I forgot. I think that's posit. Maybe. I don't know. Button didn't work. So, like, I wonder if eventually we're going to have, like, guilty clients that we're going to defend and get off the hook. You know, might as well have a little bit of fun with it since we're evil. Maybe evil's the wrong word, but that's what I've been calling her. Would you kindly slow the hell down? Sorry, Adonai. Was I walking too quickly for you? I wasn't walking. That was speed walking. Up 2 flights of stairs. It's very different. Speed walking? Sounds like a powerful technique. Is it like... what is that? Zhen Jiao? Let me just catch my breath for a minute. Ugh. Is it possible that you are out of shape? Oh. No. But since we left the cab, your heart rate has I'm not wearing the right clothes. That is true. Wearing a corset is not the easiest to exercise in. For the right shoes. Is that so? I guess just because she's a killer doesn't mean she's the most athletic. That would have been several hours ago. Do you mean the air temp? You said it would be a short walk from street level, so I prepared myself, mentally, for a short walk. Then you took off like a rocket, and you didn't mention we'd have to go upstairs. Are you sure this place is even back here? Oh, Sarah's taking me somewhere? The reviews online were quite clear. It's worth the trouble finding it. Maybe if you're a mountain climber. Despite having like the phone aesthetic, we don't actually get to look at our phone messages. No updates from our mother or Fran. Or no, it was not our mother, it was our aunt. When I sent Fran hunting for a musician in David's circles, I expected them to bring me someone from the city orchestra or jazz club. Oh yeah, I forgot what Fran was doing. I feel like it's been so long. It's been like almost a week already. Champagne flute, teacup kind of musician. But this is the tequila and neon part of town. Shouldn't be in view if we turn. Adonai, be careful. Of what? It's a stray, and it's bearing its fangs too. Could be carrying diseases. You should relax. It's growling. Not growling at me. Is it a cat? See? So, it's just me it doesn't like. Too much static. How'd you get it to calm down? It's an animal, not a monster. It wants to be calm. You like animals? What kind of cold-blooded freak doesn't like animals? Do you have a pet? No, never have. Why not? Because I don't want to take care of a pet. Seems counterintuitive to me. I get it. Makes perfect sense to me, and I don't need it to make sense to you. But you notice you're only this talkative when it's just the two of us? Yeah, well, I think it's probably for the best that she doesn't talk too much around other people, so they don't start asking too many questions about her. Just an observation. You shy or something? Did David program you to have android anxiety? It's generally only appropriate to respond to comments that are addressed to oneself. Today, I have rarely been addressed directly by people, other than you. In other words, you're shy. That is not what I mean, she is very curious, so I am surprised she doesn't butt into other people's conversations more. But like I said, it's probably for the best she doesn't. Can I try petting it? No law against it. Ultraviolets. Ooh. This is the establishment. Now to see if Isaac Porter is as habitual as Fran claims. You think Father was close with this man? This man who you've never met? I think he was close with him, yeah? At some point. I had some help making that deduction. Fran saw their metadata showed a significant cooling of interaction between the two of them, particularly over the past month. Jilted lover, perhaps? Fran also saw a phone call between the two last night. So they were close. Do you think they were sleeping together? That's completely inappropriate for me or anyone to speculate about. Inappropriate? I don't know, I feel like it's relevant to the case. It's only... I'm getting a very important text message from my private investigator. Excuse me. Did you catch the killer yet? No. What the hell? I sent you his POS. I'm at his position. I haven't spoken to Porter yet. Anyway, there's no reason to suspect him right now. Lame. Surprised you're invested all of a sudden. Isn't David Asher a corporate sellout in your eyes? Everyone's a corporate sellout. But Asher gets respect. If I'm a demolitions expert, he's like a really good architect. It's almost sweet, I think. Asher started out working in Cube. So, in the architect analogy, by today's standards, he's like IDK. As a kid, he built all the bricks by hand, or something. You know, that lit homework can always help you forming analogies. Eat this analogy. Did that come through, or did the characters break? It's supposed to be a guy giving you the finger. I take it Cube is a programming language. What's special about it? Pretty much anything coded in the last 20 years is web-based. You code with the assumption that you'll always be connected. So you can depend on having fat libraries of references to lean on. And if anything does go wrong, your errors get reported to you automatically. Not Cube? You can look it up. But basically, Cube was originally for robotics and like machinery. Stuff that had to operate in mines. Under the ocean. Middle of nowhere fields with zero signal service. So Cube had to be self-sufficient. How rugged. Where'd Asher learn Cube anyway? It's older than dirt. From like the 40s. I don't know. I think his father had a machine shop or something. Vague. Well, Asher didn't like to talk about his family. I never asked. What did your private investigator have to say, Adonai? Not telling. Alright, let's investigate. Vaguely themes of Japan. Stage for the talent, pretty close to the floor. Guess it fits the whole round table aspect of this place. Wait, what's this place called again? Was there a round table involved? I forgot. Everyone's on more or less equal footing, dancing in the dark once you get past the bouncer. You think they might have met here? David and Porter? I can't see David walking in here. Because he found the walk so challenging? Because it's too loud to relax. And not dark enough to be anonymous. Yeah, I guess he would be too famous. I see. What's that face? You got an opinion to share? The atmosphere's not bad in here, but the music isn't quite... I'll find you a survey to fill out before we leave. What kind of music does an android even like? Early 21st century punk rock. Is that just you, or does that go for all androids? I haven't met all androids, so I can't speak for them. I wonder what they'd say. If they're smart, they'd say that music peaked with early 21st century punk rock. Debate settled. Alright. Oh, what is it? Talk? How about over there? He matches the photo Fran sent. Should I approach now or look some more? Oh, let's look some more. Okay. Surely there's some. Oh. Bar stocked full of colorful selections and busy bartenders. This just looks like a very cyberpunky airport. You know what I mean? Like the airport kinds of like lounge areas. I feel like those cafeteria areas always have these kind of like circular type things so everybody can crowd around them. Hope this isn't the type of club you can order food in. Really? Is that bad? Only time bar food is any good is when you're drunk enough to forget the taste and the gap between chewing and swallowing. That can't be true. Like, surely they have some good food, like little tapas finger food. So you can like eat things? Yes, I can. What, like Android food? I feel like they talked about like little energy pellets for them. There's no such product. So what do androids eat? Online user guide for Noble's War models clarified that they don't eat anything in the traditional sense. They get their energy from electronic charging, usually wireless. Whenever they need to eat, it's to replenish some specific vitamins and electrolytes. Sounds like what a lot of mod users go through with their sports drinks and energy bars. And charger separation anxiety. According to the net, worm androids can ingest nutrient-rich processed carbohydrate pellets if they need to forego electronic... I can't read already. Electrical charging long-term. Processed pellets? You mean like kibble? Like dog food? No, it is not like dog food at all. Can you buy it from a pet store? It seems that you can. How is this something you have to look up anyway? Because I've always just eaten whatever father gave me. Like what? Marbled beef? Never hydroponic? Avocados? Foie gras? That sort of thing. I am not paying for any of that. Well, it's good that she doesn't seem picky at least. Is that all that's on the scene? That might be all. Okay, but let me just double check. Sometimes it's kind of... You gotta be really careful. Let's scope out the room. Nope. Oh, no. Is that him? Read. Oh, it's this. What kind of reading material gets left out in a club? Tabloid interview? Menu? Exclusive sit down with luxury. You've heard her name on everyone's lips. You've seen her face in magazines and commercials. And then double check to make sure the photos weren't labeled as edited. Now, get all your burning questions about her answered here in our exclusive interview with the mysterious young woman who's being called, in perhaps the only true unanimous vote the net's ever seen, the world's most beautiful, the most beautiful woman in the world. Why the name? People think it's an ego thing, but it was just a random username I picked back when I was grassroots. Then it was a pseudonym to give a little shade from all the attention. Now it's a brand, and I can't change it without setting the stock market into a spin, so... You're certainly influential. After partnering with you, Inti saw a 3,000% increase in share price. Yeah, I'm happy for them, of course, but to be honest, it's a pain at times like this. She gestures toward her clothes. Plain white t-shirt, gym shorts, no branding visible. On anyone else, it might seem sloppy or even unflattering. On her, it only makes her natural beauty stand out much more. are you wearing, by the way? Can't wear anyone unless I'm attending something. If I don't dress like this, all my sponsors fall into bidding wars every time I leave the house. Does it stress you? All that attention? Stress is bad for your skin, right? They say mine is flawless. Can't argue with that. If you have any skincare routine, any tips you'd like to share? Be a little bratty. Act a little spoiled. Keeps you young. How old are you exactly? Everyone's dying to know. 18 to 29. Now and forever. Weird. However old she is, Luxury's got one hell of a mind for business. Luxury. Kinda like she might be working with like a competing company? I don't know, they might not be a tech company. Might do her more good than that face in the end. Maybe, one hell of a face. In the meantime, some rises are too meteoric for even the Megs to grab the reins on. At this point, Luxury's got them at her mercy. She can send their stock into disarray with one selfie. Good for her. Oh. Okay, I guess we're auto doing this now since this is him. Looks like he's killing time before his set starts. Are you unsure how to proceed, Adonai? I'm sure that you need to hang back. As for me, I'll play it straight. Isaac Porter? What's up? My name is Morgan. I was David's friend. Right now, I'm his lawyer. Can we talk? Depends. Were you a friend from work? No. Over here. Thanks, Isaac. Don't thank me yet. I might just sit here, shut my mouth, and stick you with my tab. Isaac Porter. Bass? I forget. I feel like they mentioned another instrument he plays. I don't do requests. Likes champagne. Fluent in 3 languages, but it doesn't say which. Oh, really? Likes baseball games. Good with kids. Well, it says she gets them to stop crying, so I assume that means she's good with them. I don't assume she torments them into stop crying. Although that could be the case. Never hydroponic? Avocado, was it? Movement calling for sourcing food exclusively from farms utilizing natural sunlight. What's hydroponic mean? I feel like they've used that word before. Growing plants without soil, using water-based nutrient solution instead. Lobbyists for the movement have made unsubstantiated claims about superior taste or nutritional value, but the label has yet to receive official state recognition. And thus, the presence of the term, or terms like it, on food packaging carries no weight. It is not backed by any legal guarantee. It's always funny how that works. I forget. I feel like there are some terms like that like in the real world. One of a number of food sourcing movements that arose in the latter half of the 21st century, as rising sea levels reduced the total amount of arable land around the world and shifted the global agricultural industry towards hydroponics and vertical farms, rural skyscrapers, where each floor is utilized for food production, saving on real estate costs and reducing the impact of unstable weather on agricultural output. Sounds solid enough. Oh, that's right, Cube programming language. Tended to support robust behavior trees in low data stream environments. design philosophy emphasized lean, goal-oriented learning that would not be reliant on the bloated libraries and always online API popularized in the 2030s. Rousseau Fluff first began working on Cube in 2044 as part of a student robotics project. Cube already found itself embedded in robotics engineering across the globe. Despite having considered a relatively high barrier to entry in user knowledge or execution, Cube gained widespread popularity, particularly among disaffected communities and third-world countries where internet access would remain unreliable for the next 2 decades as regional conflicts would continue. Infamously, Contra Fighter engineers utilized Cube during the 27-day siege to siege mechanized weapons from peacekeeping forces in a cyber warfare operation that is frequently cited as the key reason as to why the siege lasted as long as they did. I did not expect the Cube to be taking this route, but I guess that I understand. Cube has not been a developer supported since 2063, and is considered a defunct programming language, because much of its documentation was never ported from the old net, and due to its incompatibility with tenets, there's little to no corporate interest in the ongoing grassroots digital archaeology effort to archive it. Luxury. Excuse me. So, what kind of lawyer are you? What kind of friend? Does he have like... Oh no, I think it's just eyeshadow. For a second I thought he had like a... There's kind of like a little bit of pink here, and I thought he might have had like a black eye. I'm his defense attorney. I think you must bust on that one then, yeah? And I'm a friend that needs to know what happened yesterday. Doesn't everyone? Try somewhere else. Friendly lawyer. I haven't seen him in weeks. You might not have seen him, but we both know you spoke with him on the phone yesterday. Only a short time before he died. How the hell? Isaac, it's pretty obvious you don't want this particular spotlight to linger on you any longer than necessary. So why don't we cut to the chase? No lies, no playing coy. Fine. Sarah. Yes, Adonai? What the hell? Is that thing transmitting? I'm not streaming any data, no. Porter doesn't seem to recognize Sarah either. One more person David was keeping secrets from. I need to record everything for the court. Fine. You two were together, is that correct? We were together. I ended it. Yesterday. Care to elaborate? On our entire relationship? Look, you can tell me everything once and I can get it on record. Or you can hear the same questions over and over again from 1,000 different cops and Megs for the next 3 months. We met in a bar. I had seen him come in a few times, each time with someone else. Each time talking with his mouth, but not looking with his eyes. It ticked me off. Scribbling on napkins, letting his single gin and tonic sweat onto the table for 2 hours. His dates would all go to the bathroom or take a call and slip out the back. One of them didn't make it 10 minutes. And he'd still sit there the rest of the night, unfazed. Couldn't tell if he was oblivious or stupid or shameless or the most confident man in the world. And it ticked me off. One night, things were slow and my set had been canceled. And his date hadn't even bothered to think of an excuse before bailing, so I asked him why he insisted on coming there, night after night. Just to ignore vapid people he wasn't interested in at the shitty bar with drinks he didn't like. And he just said, because I like your music. Man, did that tick me off. It was cute, early on. Him being so passionate about work, I could barely pretend to understand. And I like that we gave each other space, you know? Felt like we were being mature or whatever. Until? There was no until. No one day where everything turned sour. But at some point, I started to understand where his priorities were. And how I ranked in them. Like I said, he was passionate about his work. I just wrongly assumed that he would also be passionate about me at some point. So I pulled away a little, wanted to see if he'd notice, if he'd miss me. Testing him, like that isn't the biggest red flag in the world. He never budged. I could ignore him for days, or he wouldn't get the least bit ashamed to see me. If I picked a fight, he'd never get angry or upset, he'd just apologize. He didn't want to fight with me. Guess he was never invested enough to bother. It was my mistake. I watched him sit there all those nights, not giving a shit when people walked away, and still I had this stupid idea that somehow, for whatever reason, I would be different. Oh man. That I would be special. But I wasn't. So I ended things. Yeah, he's playing it too cool at first, thinking that, you know, oh, this guy's gonna come around eventually. Nope. Not gonna happen, buddy. Sometimes you just gotta look at how things stand and just walk away. So last night, I called him. I didn't expect he'd pick up. I had everything prepared to leave a message with an assistant or ad or whatever. But he answered. First ring. Without hesitation, shame, or awkwardness. And it ticked me off. So, I told him exactly how valued he had made me feel the past few months. I told him exactly how insignificant I felt as a boyfriend of the illustrious Dr. David Asher. What did he say? He apologized. Then he asked me if that was all I called to tell him. Oof. I hung up after that. I spent the rest of the night wrapped in warm disdain for him and his coldness. He made that easy for me. I went to sleep hurt, but clean, ready for something new. And then this morning, I woke up to see that my ex killed himself not 2 hours after he let me walk out of his life without so much as a don't. What the hell? What the hell, David? Now you're just the tip of the iceberg of lawyers and reporters and buzzards. Parasites who all want to hear about the man who sent David Asher over the edge. I never wanted to be his last lifeline or the straw that broke his back. I just wanted to be his goddamn boyfriend. Ugh, my voice already. Turns out I was asking too much. It's yet to be determined whether David committed suicide. Seriously? You don't have all the facts. You do? Any of them point to anything else? Thought so. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to it. That's it? No summons? Court has no need for you to retell a sad story like that. court, huh? Sorry to bother you at work. Alright, Sarah, let's go. Your discography is very impressive. Thanks. Your range is remarkable. So, it pained me to see all your works in the last quarter have been so melancholy. I think... Well, what the hell would you know about any of that? What's the matter? Can't find the words? Need to steal them from somewhere first, butcher them before shitting them back out? I wonder if she heard his music at David's place, or if she just looked it up online. I was not trained on any data sets that... Nah, pardon me. My mistake, really. Not your fault you're only standing here because rich prick nerds were allowed to rob the world blind for most of the century. Sarah, we're leaving. What the hell was that about? He was under the false impression that I was programmed using a massive automated learning model. An early 21st century... Not that. Why'd you talk to him? I wanted to? Just felt I should say something to him. Word of advice. People don't want comfort from strangers, especially when they're androids. They want it from people they want it from. Coming from anywhere else, it's just... corn syrup on a parched tongue. That's a good way to put it. Doesn't matter how sweet it is, they'll just start gagging. I was saying this not too long ago to somebody, but I'm kind of weird about, like, compliments and stuff. Like, maybe it sounds a little mean to say or a little cold to say, but, like, sometimes... I mean, like, I don't think there's necessarily, like, a bad compliment, but I think that, like, compliments are kind of weird in that, like, for example... You know, I have more value. For example, if somebody that I think is really smart tells me that I'm smart, you know, I definitely take that at a different value than, like, if somebody that I don't think is particularly smart says I'm smart, you know? Or, like, same with, like, if somebody that I think is, like, really good looking says something about the way I look versus somebody that I don't think is very good looking. You know, it's like I kind of judge a little bit based on skill set. But also, like, there's definitely times, too, where people have said that I did something good. I'm like, well, no, I didn't. Because I genuinely, like, I don't like to get praised too much for things that I don't think I did a good job on. I really prefer, but it sounds weird, like, because I'm not trying to be humble. It's more like, I do like to get praise on things that I do think I did a good job on. It's just that sometimes, you know, myself and other people, we don't come to the same conclusion or the same opinion about what they like and what I like, I guess. You know a lot about people, don't you, Adonai? Compared to you, I'm a goddamn savant. Come on, not much time left. Is there still somewhere you want to investigate? Somewhere I need to return to, actually. Porter was right. As things stand, I don't have any evidence that could establish an alternative interpretation of the facts. But if there did exist hard evidence that could prove his death wasn't a suicide, only one place I could find it at this point. Are we going back to his place? I wonder. I feel like there's still some missing unaccounted for time when he went to go get the bottle in the basement. There's still potential for gaps. Penthouse basement. Yeah. Sure you don't want another look at the crime scene? That was all on camera, though. I'm all out of time. Oh, I forgot to pay attention to what time it was. Whoops. Did they tell me the time? Ooh, 5 p.m. Okay, yeah. I think our court is at 6. 6 or 7? Gotta approach this from another angle. Another angle. You know, inductive versus deductive. Flip the chessboard and all that. Haven't you ever read a mystery novel? I've seen mystery films. Well, let's see if you paid any attention then. What killed David Asher? Poison? 10 points. There's a point system. How did the poison get into his bloodstream? He must have ingested it orally. How do we know that? Medical examiner found no injection marks or wounds. And if he had inhaled it? Inhaled it. Leave the whys to someone who actually understands them. I won't be able to understand anything if I don't practice. Practice by answering my question. Highly unlikely. We would have found a delivery system for it in the building, like an inhaler. Right. An airborne poison is either shoved in your face or sprayed over a wide area. And no one around David has shown any kind of symptoms. So, all we're left is oral intake. Eliminating the impossible. What's next? Young's corroborated statement was that David didn't exhibit any irregular symptoms or behavior until he started drinking that night. Police didn't find anything unusual in any of the food or drink in his home. Except for his cup, the results were inconclusive. Young was drinking from the same bottle and the same type of cup, but didn't get sick. We have to conclude then that David's cup alone was poisoned. Seems logical. And consistent with the police's theory of suicide. I could be wrong, but I thought that they mentioned that, like, David had already poured his own glass when he came up. So there's always the possibility he got his own liquor for someone else? So why are we down here? Minus 10 points. Back to 0. David left the parlor, came back with whiskey in 2 cups. Young told us as much, and apparently the cameras upstairs support her theory. So we have to conclude then he got both of them from his bar? 5 points. Did he also get the poison from the cabinet? Police have been in here since we left. According to the ARC's file, they didn't find anything that matches that poison down there. So poison somehow went straight into his drinking cup then. I need to flip this around again. If you turn something 360, you're just back to... If I were the prosecution, what would I want more than anything? Proof that David knowingly added the poison himself. Hold on, I need to look at the poison question mark? Depressant drug. Hmm. Let me think. I'm just looking at, like, I kind of want to look at, like, market depressant drugs to kind of get an idea. I guess benzodiazepine, Xanax, Klonopin. Alcohol. I was having an idea, but the idea is now gone. Terms. Where are my terms? Cause like my, I don't know. Where is it? Nope. Copper Mist, Meg, Taylor. I thought it was in here. Maybe it was a different article. The serotonin thing that they were talking about. Where is it? Ah! Oh well. Because I was wondering, like, what if it was just a genuine accident? Like, what if it was something else got into his cup somehow? We wouldn't do that. You can make that claim because there's no video evidence to contradict you. How long was David off camera? From 7:36 to 7:40, when he left the parlor to get liquor from his bar. So, if we had David on camera for those 4 minutes, or if we had David on camera for those 4 minutes, and he didn't poison himself in that time, he would have had a perfect alibi for the crime, proving his innocence. But we don't have footage of that. There's no security cameras down here. I think there are. What? What do you mean? This whole building is coated head to toe in Penumbra security systems, courtesy of Noble. Every console, every corner, every Android on every floor, it's all plugged into Penumbra. I kind of wondered, like, too... Like, I assume Sarah was in the closet that entire time? Kind of seems like he just shoved her away whenever he had company. Except that. That panel is manufactured by Cotter Security Systems. Why would David put a console for a different security system in exactly one corner of his penthouse? I've never given it much thought. Well, it's been bothering me all day. But my curiosity alone can't scale a 64-digit wall. Oh yeah, we never solved that one. You mean signal hijacking, or whatever you want to call it. Have you tried it before? It's illegal and unnecessary. Father would not... He would not have installed hidden cameras in his own home. At the end of the day, I can't make you do anything. Well, actually, I probably can, now that you're registered to me. But aren't you the one who wanted to prove his innocence? Eliminate the impossible. I will need your express verbal command. Not like David can press charges against us at this point. True, but I guess this is owned by Noble, so... I mean, even if they don't own that security system. Do it. Did you really need me to say that? For the purpose of record keeping, yes. If you... I've gone past the 64-digit code, and I have found cameras. I kind of assumed that he wanted that one to be, like, different from the Noble Penumbra system. Strictly because he wanted to keep it a secret from Noble. Like, for his secret projects, like Sarah. There are a number of them embedded in the room's walls and ceiling. As you theorize, they're on a separate network from the rest of the building. Where are they feeding to, if not the Penumbra system? Behind my hibernation unit. A false wall in the back of the safe. I don't understand. Why would Father possibly have a hidden system of cameras inside his own home? Beats me. He was brilliant and more than a little odd. Throw in a little money and odd becomes eccentric. I see. I think? I don't. What the hell was he thinking? What was he afraid of? Why didn't he come to me for... Maybe he has them just in case she comes for him. Nah, I think they're solid. I think he hid evidence of her crimes. Time's short. Gather facts now, leave the computation for later. Whoa. Oh yeah, the weights. What did David even do with all this equipment? Dry his laundry? What makes you so sure he wasn't exercising? Did you see him use any of this crap? No, but he must have used the weights when I wasn't looking. Since he promised he'd take better care of his health. Sarah, these weights are all maxed out. David couldn't put numbers like these even if he was piloting a frame. Don't be so sure, Adonai. The following is a true story based on primary sources who were present for the event and its aftermath. Copenhagen, 1981, 8:10 a.m. local time. A towering man with the musculature of a world-class professional rugby player enters the Global Danke Bank on Frederiksberg Lane. He explains to the bank teller that he has a bomb in his suitcase, and he wants his gym bag filled with unmarked bills. A security guard approaches him from behind with a nightstick and swings. But the man simply catches the weapon and bends it into a twisted knot with his massive, dinner plate-sized hands. When asked to describe the suspect to the police afterwards, the teller only had this to say. That man was all muscle. The rest of the bank heist proceeds without incident, and the man exits the building just as the police arrive on the scene, when suddenly, his suitcase explodes. But it's just a smokescreen. Local officers quickly recognize the ploy and rush toward the door, grabbing each of the hostages as they flee while desperately searching for the perpetrator. What they find instead is a diminutive, frail, sheepish young man, barely 160 centimeters tall, holding a gym bag full of money with no recollection of how he got there. Renowned psychologist and trained hypnotist Dr. Werner Kurtzer wrote the following in his diagnosis. Acute dissociative identity disorder. What? Are we really going to bring that into play? That's right. The man had split personality. And so great was the disparity between his two halves that when they switched control, he physically changed, becoming taller, bulkier, and capable of previously unthinkable feats of strength. So, Be careful what you say when you say a man like father can't do just because of how he looks on the outside. Sarah, every single word you said was false. Huh? Don't believe everything you read on the net. Not sure what to make of that. If that was just for fun or if that was really gonna go anywhere. Seems kind of weird, like certain things like the weights in the car and all the whiskey kind of feels like certain like man cave elements that I'm not sure don't really seem like his vibe otherwise. All he needs is a big screen TV and a shoe cabinet. Sneaker cabinet, I guess. Sneaker cabinet this mystery hinges on. Police have been through it all by now. Couldn't find foreign contents in any of his spirits. No poison to be found here. Not that kind of poison. In which case, can I make you anything? If you're offering, I'll have... Sorry, you're way underage, aren't you? 2 years old or whatever? Technically. Took that one a lot worse than I expected. Cheer up. Maybe you'll find a mocktail if you climb up the top of the ladder. This is a rolling ladder. Kind of step ladder, not a ladder. What? Remember, a ladder extends, but a step ladder folds out. And? It's important to know the distinction. Really, that's the distinction? I'd bet my life savings that this subject will never come up again. Ever. We'll see about that, I guess. They know. They know I've been playing Ace Attorney. Alright, I guess we'll do that. So, is that the original? It was appraised and confirmed to be genuine. At least he didn't get ripped off. I'm a Philistine when it comes to this kind of stuff. What does an android see? I see a meeting. Or perhaps an encounter? Two apex forces of nature. Two kings of the forest, the stag and the tiger. I think. Great. I'm officially less cultured than the robot. Oh, the crack. That's right. What's the story with this anyway? Some kind of fault in the foundation? Oh no, never noticed that crack before. Might want to get those eyes checked. There's nothing wrong with my vision. This crack must have been created during my most recent hibernation. How? Did David drop a weight a bunch of times over and over in the same spot? Alright, let's refocus here. Some kind of hidden door behind your bunk bed, huh? Essentially, although a bunk bed would imply a second or third. How do we open it? One moment. I see. Open already? I cannot open this door. Why? It is a Tethys basic Sturdicure. Anti-hack feature is, and the name is real? It's a closed system. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Strange. There was an if-then toggle enabled in the security parameters. I don't follow. When Father last adjusted the settings here, he made it so the door would never open so long as I was hibernating. Huh? And then he made it so that I was the only one who could wake her up. Meaning, this is a door that only I can open? It'll be a 6-character password, some combination of numbers or letters. Did you and Father have any influential moments in your life that revolved around a 6-letter word? Murder. Nothing comes to mind. Is there a code word that he knew only I could learn? Oh. Oh. Could it be your birthday or his? If David set that password to something as dumb as that, I'd never forgive him. As you say. No, he would have picked a code whose significance was only obvious after the fact. Okay, I am genuinely getting a little stumped here. And I hate that I can't look at my evidence during this part. Well, was that your name you just tried? Yes it was. Where's my notebook? Just in case I need to write down a couple numbers. Oh yeah, what was the name of the whiskey? Rose River. What's my birthday? 12/26. My height, 175. I never noticed her body count. His is 10/28. His height is 180. He's not that tall. Probably not important, but might as well. August 29. Paralegal? Question mark. I also like the 180 roll. Is this new? Interesting. Oh, maybe something Porter related. Porter is new. Six characters, isn't it? It's not exactly secure. Anyone who knew you and father were close could have tried to guess it. Some word that only the two of you knew? A nickname? Everyone just calls me Morgan. But not everyone. Eh? Oh, her actual name was like Evangeline or something. Nope. Oh. What am I missing here? don't know. What's something that is just specific to us? I guess Sarah's pretty significant to us. Hmm. Did they have any other hints at this? Influential moments in your life. Oh. You know what? Let me try. I wonder if this is it. Hold on. Yes, I know it's... You don't have to beat me over the head with it. Right when I realize what it could be, she's suddenly like, hint, 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 Adonai. Opening. What was the password, Adonai? You'd never guess. Did feel a bit out of character. David utilizing so much cloak and dagger tech. And I've definitely been struggling with the idea of him doing home improvement. But one step in here and it all makes sense. It's a panic room. Scary. Panic room is a place for rich people to hide in when people start bouncing bricks off their windows. They're typically not even on the blueprints. So, when Noble built this penthouse for one of their executives, someone slipped this into the mix, and it's remained in Noble's blind spot ever since. All David had to do was repurpose it. Make sure you're capturing all of this. I don't want to miss my one chance because of a discovery technicality. I understand, but you needn't specify. My memory is flawless. I can play back visuals, sounds, sensations. I can even give detailed reports on air particulates. You can smell? Better than any human, and some canines. So does it smell stale in here to you? Stale. It doesn't to me. Almost like someone's been in here recently. Almost like someone visits here frequently. Alright, let's try booting up the computer. You don't think the console's password protected? 2 physical doors, a 64-digit code, a half-ton Android, and a secret phrase. If David set a password on his PC after all that, I'm going to go back to the morgue and have a word with him. Already signed in. You're looking for camera footage? I'd also settle for a note plainly stating that he feared for his life. What am I doing? Here, you search for video files. They'll probably be timestamped and formatted for short-range devices. I have the subfolder. Camera stream live data constantly. The files are clipped at fairly regular intervals. Once every week, it seems. Most recent video file here has footage going back 8 days. Accessed yesterday at around 4 p.m. You were asleep then, so the only person who could have gotten here at that time is David himself. Alright, let's see it. Of course, it's just that, I'm having difficulty. Try double checking? Double clicking? I've been trying to open the files from the moment I discovered them, Adonai. But they are encrypted. Damn it, David. You leave me enough clues to get this far, but you won't let me use your computer? What's the brand of encryption program? If I rush to subpoena, they might have a back door I could bluff them into. These files were not encrypted with any commercially available tool. He did it himself, didn't he? Appears to be Father's own work. Shit. If David Asher handwrote the encryption on these files, there's no one alive who could. Hey, was Dawes just flattering you back there? Or is your processing power really that special? Can you break this encryption, yes or no? With enough time? How much time? I would estimate 2 to 6 hours. 4-hour window. No matter how sophisticated encryption is still just a code that must be deciphered. And when deciphering any code, progress proceeds exponentially, which makes it difficult to determine the amount of time required to complete the process. 2 to 6. Don't have any better options. Get started. I started 4 minutes and 23 seconds ago. Finally showing some initiative. But you've been talking to me this whole time. I have the ability to analyze data in parallel by utilizing subconscious processes so long as the work required is rote. So you're doing it in the back of your head? Actually, I'm speaking to you in the back of my head. I could give the decryption process my full undivided attention, but I would become non-responsive. It's a pretty nifty feature. I have to keep that in mind. Alright, can you take the show on the road, or do we have to rip the computer out of the wall and find a battery? I have copied the encrypted files and will work on them as we travel. We can leave whenever you are ready. Still can't believe David let me get this far just to shut the door in my face at the last second. But he did let me get this far. And the computer's not the only thing in here. Cabinets are a lot less eye-catching than his computer. But knowing David, that's all the more reason to check. Paperwork, bonds, holdings, a platinum bar? Birth certificate? Might be nearly as valuable. I can't imagine what people would pay to steal David Asher's identity. Down here at the bottom, a binder. Noble's logo on the front, and in the middle enough pages to dwarf any of those phone books you see in period pieces. They're masking it in legalese, even on the table of contents, but basically, it's his employment contract. Hold on to this for me. Must be very important if you're giving it to me. It's certainly very heavy. Was there anything else in there? Expecting an updated copy of his will to show up. Oh, the 3D style backgrounds? I don't know. I don't think it's that unusual. I'm trying to remember, did like games like Danganronpa have like 3D backgrounds? With like those kind of like cardboard cutout 2D models? I feel like it's a thing that I've seen featured in games. And also like a fair amount of art people do for like background modeling does start at the 3D model state. So sometimes you see like, sometimes they becomes like fully illustrated in more 2D style, but other times you kind of has like a lot of 3D elements still to it. Maybe in a corny old murder mystery. Widely beloved, respect genre with over 2 centuries of something else. Your papers. that Evangeline Morgan be given immediate and complete ownership of the android designated Sarah. Dated a few weeks back. Had he already made up his mind about all this? If he had, why did he hide this where no one else could find it? Just a backup plan? At least we got something a bit more concrete than Starling's word now. Okay. Tax-free transaction, fortunately. Binder. Not a light read. At least we somehow got, oh, yeah, I already said that. Our words should be plenty, shouldn't they? Not if people realize how precious you are. Yeah, I'm really surprised that people haven't been, like, chomping at the bit to get Sarah. As a collector's item. We've yet to meet one person who knows what the hell you are. But Noble could have easily argued that you fall under private technology or physical holdings. Unless I had something like this. It's good that you do then. I'm glad that Father wanted me to go to a friend of his. Yeah. This will give me a huge tax write-off when I donate you to a for-profit college. You could at least pick a charitable institution. Just an old saying. All colleges have been for-profit since the 60s. That doesn't make me feel any better. You can cheer up in the car. Hail us a ride to the courthouse. Priority. There's an upcharge at this hour for priority transportation. Irritating? But I'd like to have more than just a few minutes to prepare once we get there. The upcharge is a multiplier of 5.7. I'll prepare on the way over. Very good, Adonai. Alright, I was thinking that I might want to stop before court. Just kind of a short morning stream. Ugh. So I'm still like a little... My speaking. Cannot speak. So let's see if we're at the courthouse yet. Does it excite you? Going to courtrooms? What do you mean? You don't feel the tension in the air as the audience murmurs amongst themselves? I wonder how Sarah's gonna react when she realizes that Morgan's a murderer. You don't feel a fiery sense of justice rising in your gut as the prosecution smirks at your ragtag assembly of witnesses? You think this is gonna be like some kind of movie where the good guys save the day? Probably not. Though that would be nice if it were. What's your deal anyway? Did David train you off a movie marathon from hell or something? We did watch films together, if that's what you're asking. Though he was rarely the one who suggested it. So you were the aggressor? What's an android get out of watching a flick, anyway? What do I get? Why do you do it? What's your reason? Not sure how to answer your questions. Never mind. Forget what I was talking to. Or I forgot what I was talking to. I like the performances. There you go. Got a crush on Humphrey Bogart or something? He's a handsome man. But it's not the actors I like so much as their performance. Truth is, besides Father, I have very little experience when it comes to people. Hadn't noticed. I read the net, and I watch people and what they share of their lives. but it's also subtle. It's hard to follow. So many unspoken rules that can't be taught, only learned, and I often struggle to grasp them. You're all so complex, so detailed. But the characters on screen are exaggerated, larger than life. The actors enunciate. Their body language is precise and meaningful. Their faces are brighter, softly lit, and their eyes are... It's fiction. So these characters and their stories, they have a beginning, middle, and an end. And the people on screen don't ask anything of you except your attention. You can't disappoint them or make them feel awkward. You just watch and learn. What about you, Adonai? About me? Do you like the movies? Yeah, sure, back when I was a kid. Really? Who was your favorite director? What was your favorite film? It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Ooh, 605. State building. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse. Though I've always felt courthouse is a bit of a misnomer. Government building is probably the best way to describe these towers. Towers all-encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials and documents and paper-pushing queues. With a couple dozen courtrooms squeezed in along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing in court when I woke up today. Didn't think my friend would be dead, or that he'd have thrust an android onto my lap either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain loudly, of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered in my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that. And I guess I don't have to, or don't plan to. Why? Must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself, and not prone to emotional outbursts. Maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humor and add suspicions before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I am making progress. Well shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It would be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of completion percent. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. Are you feeling confident in your case? Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjuncts are always a coin flip, so you do know what an adjutant... I can't say that word either. Adjutant. 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 How do I say that better? Adjutant, I guess is the way to say it. Adjutant. Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and gavel when we get in there? Should I not? She loves Ace Attorney. Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that entails. I'm surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal experience or expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and sentencing algorithm. So androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. How was that law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions? Stalling? Judges did fight for years at every level in every theater. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. States needed to shred budgets across the board. So judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants. It's not controversial, having machines determine sentencing for human beings? Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machine, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high profile of crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. And that's not rushing things? Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure. Just surprised here that there's so much haste. Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. Although, not exactly the same. But if adjuntants are so effective, why aren't they used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer? Logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the court to be just as Doesn't everyone want the courts to be as just as possible? If adjuntants are truly impartial and incorruptible, everyone wants justice, sure, but there are other considerations to be had. Such as? Disgust? What? That's all people really care about. What all their morals boil down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. You know, this is a problem that a lot of people have when it comes to like understanding why things are legal versus illegal, or how they determine what's legal versus illegal. You know, I see a lot of times people respond to reports of crimes as like, oh, that's disgusting, it makes me feel bad, and therefore it's a bad thing. When really, like, it's not like it's illegal because it's disgusting. It's more like it's illegal because it causes harm or damage. And I think people very easily mistake the two. People are very driven more to punish by what they find, you know, disgusting or repugnant, than strictly based on like reducing harm, I guess. Only problem is everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras, no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails. You'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. Alright. I think this is now it. This is now the stopping point. Ugh. I brushed my teeth before stream, but my mouth still feels kind of like bleh. Let's see, what time is it? It's still early. Maybe I could try to sleep a little bit more. All All right, perfect time. And thankfully I could save at any time. There we go. Yes. Perfect, perfect. Just a nice little morning stream to ease me into it. I don't know if I'm gonna do this one tomorrow or go back to Urban Myth Dissolution Center. We'll see. Also, I realized that I was like, crap, I've been like really, really behind on uploading VODs to YouTube. So I was like, all right. I don't know why, but for some reason I always prefer to do it the way that like I just manually upload my videos from my folder. But now I'm like, you know what? There's like a slightly faster way to do it through Twitch. It's not like it's automated, it's just a tiny bit faster. So I'm gonna try that. I think the other reason why I got like so bogged down was because there were a couple VODs I wanted to just make like a couple of small edits to. Like, usually it's, on occasion it might be cutting something out, but usually it's more like, if I think the audio mixing was really bad during stream and I'm like, oh, you know, I really need to turn that down or turn myself up or something. I think actually like even for the first part of this, of playing episode chapter 1 of this game, my first stream, I think I had the music a little bit too loud for that as well. I don't know if I'm gonna go back and edit that. I'm getting a little bit lazy. Because like it's kind of just an archive. Not very many people ever look at it, and that's fine. I'm like, oh, I'm so lazy. I hate opening my editing software. It's so heavy on my computer. So heavy to process. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna try to nap. I don't know, probably not gonna stream in the morning tomorrow. I'll probably go back to my more typical hours. But you never know. I like to keep people on their toes, I guess. Okay. Bye-bye.